Welcome, and we are so glad that you have joined us today for the Family Resource Center virtual visits. My name is Julie Matusik, and I am part of the National Family Support Network team. And I will be providing a brief introduction about Family Resource Centers before we have an opportunity to visit two Family Resource Centers from across the country. So thousands of family resource centers have emerged organically. And so we want to talk all about that. But before we do, let's take a look at our overview of what we'll be covering together this afternoon here on the East Coast. So I'll provide the overview as promised, and then we will have an opportunity to visit two sites from Georgia and from Connecticut. And then we will return back to the main session for an evaluation and close. And then we'll, of course, invite you to stay on for the main session that will pick up after the break. So let's dive into talking about some information about Family Resource Centers. So thousands of family resource centers have emerged organically across the country, yet their existence is still largely under the radar as what we call America's best kept secret. So a family resource center is a community or school-based welcoming hub of support and services and opportunities that are designed to support families to be strong and to be successful. And the images that you see here on this slide, the top left one is from a community-based family resource center in Vermont. And the bottom right one is from a school-based family resource center in Kentucky. So family resource centers, they work with families with an approach that is not only two generational, but multi-generational, also being strengths-based and family-centered. And each of these components is equally important. So the first aspect that we'll talk about is multi-generational. So maybe you've heard of two-gen or two-generational work. Well, family support is the original, not only two-gen, but multi-gen work. And as programs are working with children, they're working with parents and grandparents as well. And family resource centers are strengths-based because we see families as having strengths that we want to support them to build upon. And being family-centered, family resource centers are family-centered because everything we do has families at the center. And these centers are designed for all families. So not only low income or highly challenged ones. This way, the support that they're providing is non-stigmatized, making it more readily accessible. So programming is provided at no cost or low cost to families. How many of you have heard of the Strengthening Families Protective Factors before today? Anybody seeing seeing some nods and some hands and some emojis there? Yeah, great. So as many of you may know, these 5 protective factors come to us from the Center for the Study of Social Policy. And research has shown that these 5 protective factors increase family stability, enhance child development, and reduce the likelihood of child abuse and neglect. So as we are working with families, we want to support them to build these protective factors because we know that they make a positive difference in the lives of families. And so as we're talking about family resource centers, they are conveniently located hubs, and they bundle and braid and co-locate many services that may already be familiar to you. So maybe home visiting, evidence-based parent education, health screenings, play groups, fatherhood programs, family counseling, and food banks. And despite their organic development and varied funding streams across the country, there is a remarkable similarity in the most common service areas of family resource centers. So the data you see here on this slide comes to us from a national study that the National Family Support Network worked with a research institute in Colorado that was funded by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And you'll see as we are looking at these most common service areas, the first one we'll look at is the parenting support. So this exists on a continuum from lighter touch, such as the parenting workshops, to more intensive services that are on the right. So with home visiting being the most intensive service there. And then access to resources also exists on a continuum. So again, from lighter touch to more intensive services. So enhanced information and referral being lighter touched, and then we move forward with concrete supports. And so this is actually directly providing these services at the program. So clothing, food, shelter, rental assistance, being able to help out with those things right at the center. And then working with families over time to address family identified goals and co-location of resources like we had talked about. So not only family resource centers provide programs, but they build communities of peer support for families to develop social connections that reduce isolation and stress, which are highly correlated with the likelihood of child abuse and neglect. So now that we've given you some of the introductory information about family resource centers and you're grounded in that, we are excited to introduce to you the two options that you'll have to select from for today's session. Well, welcome to the school-based FRC virtual visit, and I am excited to introduce to you our presenter for this session, Amy Morales.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today and share information about our family resource centers in Enfield. I just want to start off by saying I am so honored to be partnering with the National Family Support Network and be part of an organization that values the important work that family resource centers do. One of the most exciting parts for me in being part of the NFSN has been learning about FRCs all over the country that do the same things that we do every day to support families. So it's been really wonderful to meet people doing this work, and just playing a small part in it has been so humbling. So thank you. I wanted to start by giving you a little bit of information about the town of Enfield. But before I do that, we have two parents that are joining us today to present, and one of the parents is not able to stay for the whole time. So I wanted him to just say hello really quickly, Julie, if that's okay. For Colleen and Leo to unmute themselves, and I'm hoping you can see them, and just so that Leo can say hi. You're going to hear from Colleen in a bit.
Hi everyone, thank you so much. We're really happy to be here and to share our experience with our Family Resource Center. And
hi everyone, I'm Leo. I only have a few minutes. I'm sorry, I'm on work time, so I do have to head back in just a minute, but I really appreciate the Family Resource Center. The first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the Circle of Security parenting courses that we were a part of a couple years ago. I still, to this day, I very much think about that time and those classes. So I just appreciate everything that the Family Resource Center does for us, for the community, and just very thankful and appreciative.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you so much for taking time. And Colleen, we'll see you in a bit.
Sounds good.
So I just wanted to start off by giving you a little bit of information about the town of Enfield, just from our census and our school data. So we are a suburb located in Hartford County. We're 18 miles north of Hartford, Connecticut, 8 miles south of Springfield, Massachusetts. Our population is approximately 42,000. We have approximately 2,300 young children from birth through age 5. We have 6 elementary schools in Enfield. We have 3 that are K-2, and then we have 3 sister schools that are grades 3 to 5. We have 1 middle school and 1 high school. Our student population is about 5,000. We have 48% eligible for free and reduced lunch. That number has been growing according to our school data. Our next slide shows our demographics. We are primarily non-Hispanic white, 10% Hispanic, 6% Black, 4% two or more races, 2% Asian, and 1% other. And Spanish is our most common second language spoken. So as you heard earlier from Julie's presentation, Family Resource Centers are a comprehensive welcoming hub of support services. In Connecticut, our FRCs are based on the Schools of the 21st Century concept that was developed by Dr. Edward Ziegler out of Yale, right here in Connecticut. So in Enfield, our Family Resource Centers are part of our Town of Enfield Social Services Department. So we're a little bit unique in that most of the FRCs in Connecticut that are under the State Department of Education grant, which funds our school-based centers, are located under the Board of Education. We are a little bit unique because we are under our Town of Enfield Social Services Department. So it's really a partnership between our town and our school system. Being able to be part of the Social Services Department in Enfield has really had many opportunities. It's allowed us to have access to a whole range of services that are offered to families across the lifespan. So our Social Services Department in Enfield includes a nationally accredited Child Development Center, which provides childcare for children ages birth through school age. We have a Youth Services Bureau. We have a Substance Abuse Prevention Coordinator. We have a congregate meal program for the elderly. We have a transportation system. So we have many services, that you would expect from social services, but broader as well. And this really helps us be able to provide families with a wide range of services across the community. We also have a team of social workers working with all ages in our community and working with our police department. So this is our staff. Our staff consists of myself. I'm the operations manager, so I oversee the FRCs and also some of the youth services programs. I've been with the town for 17 years, so and it's just it's been the joy of my career is to be part of FRCs. And we have a social worker, we have a lead parent educator, and then we have a parent educator, and then we have those are all full-time positions, and we have a part-time administrative assistant. So our social worker, this is really a unique part of what we can offer through the Family Resource Center. I know some FRCs might have this, but many do not. We're just fortunate that this is part of our program where we have this designated person that can provide assistance to help children and families that are in need of additional support. She uses a trauma-informed approach. She provides, she'll do intakes assessments to determine the appropriate resources and services that families would need and then connect them. So she gets referrals from schools, from the community. So it really just has added so much to our FRC. So so we have 2 family resource centers in Enfield. So our first school-based site is our Henry Barnard School Family Resource Center. And that is one of the 57 sites in Connecticut that's funded by our State Department of Education grant. We've been in existence since 1998. We have 381 students in a K-2 school. Over half are eligible now for free and reduced lunch. Our next slide shows some photos of the space. We have a classroom at the school, and we also have access to a courtyard, which is nice for some outdoor play. So our second family resource center, which is the one I am going to highlight a little bit more today, is located at our Stowe Early Learning Center. And so it's just a little bit unique how this came to be. So we have an early childhood collaborative in Enfield called KITE, Key Initiatives to Early Education. So we are a partner with KITE. We share the goals that KITE has of just making sure that young children are healthy and safe and have the resources they need to be successful. In 2011, KITE developed an early childhood community plan. And to do that, they held focus groups with various stakeholders across the community. Lucky for us, the business sector and Brian Specht, who was the vice president of operations at Lego at the time. Lego has their North American headquarters right here in Enfield. So he was a participant. And at all of the focus groups that were held, one common thing that came out of them was that there should be more family resource centers in the schools. we only had the one. At that time, we actually had 7 elementary schools. They did a redistricting to split up the age groups, but at that time we had 7, only 1 FRC. So when he heard that, amazingly, he went back to the Lego Community Fund US and just said, you know, what can we do? And they then funded the startup of our second Family Resource Center with a grant of $125,000. They have continued to be our main funder for our learning through play groups held in that site, which really aligns perfectly with their mission and belief about children learning through play. So this slide shows our grand opening that we held. I know there's a lot of adults in this photo, but I want to just highlight some of the different members that came out to that grand opening. We had the Lego president was there. We had some of their board. We had our town manager, our superintendent, our mayor was there, our state senator. So it was really just many town leaders that really came together to support this grand opening. And then on the right, that's Brian Speck. He was the vice president at the time. That's him receiving his plaque that we created for him. And then we were very lucky in 2019, right before COVID, the local global executive team visited Enfield, and they came to the Family Resource Center to do some activities with children attending the Child Development Center there. So that was really, really fun. They were just amazing people from all over the world, and they got to see the FRC, which is really a wonderful opportunity for everyone. Lego has also been very committed to employee engagement. So they have been able to send out employees to come and do activities at our learning through play groups. They've recently done a virtual program with us as well called 6 Bricks. So you'll see in the picture on the right, they provided the actual Lego bricks to everyone, and then they led an activity. So they've been really, really wanting to partner and be involved because they're right here in our community. So before I show you what our FRC looks like, I wanted to just highlight the ages and stages screening tool that we are using along with all of the FRCs in Connecticut. We provide this, it's a screening tool. It's not a diagnostic tool, but it's an assessment to identify any developmental delays that might be occurring, just to get this conversation starter to see how children are developing. It's offered to all of our families, anyone in the community as well. So it addresses all areas of development, including social and emotional, and the parent caregiver can complete it, or our parent educator can complete it with them. The results get given to us, and then we can review them with the family, make any appropriate referrals needed. Really exciting is a new Sparkler app that's being rolled out in Connecticut. It is available to anyone, I believe. So our next slide shows just a little flyer of what it looks like, but it's a way that, so instead of doing the screening in a paper version, which we always did, they can do it on their tablet, their phone. The results go right to us, and then we can review them. It's been really wonderful, and just a really quick, easy way for families to track their children's development. It offers activities, play-based things they can do as well. So that's been really a nice addition to our program. Our learning through playgroups, this is really the foundation of our FRC. This is how we develop relationships with families, and just set the stage. We have families come together every week to socialize and meet each other. It's a play-based setting. It's a classroom that's set up like an early childhood classroom. We offer right now 5 groups at our Stowe site, and then we offer 4 at our Henry Barnard site. So I would love to show you what this looks like. And we have a nice little video to show.
Hello everyone, I'm Amy Morales, the Operations Manager for the Town of Enfield Child, Youth and Family Division of the Department of Social Services. Our Enfield Family Resource Center is part of this division, and I'm so excited to show you our Family Resource Center located in our Stowe Early Learning Center. The Stowe Early Learning Center is a wonderful place in Enfield that houses our town and Board of Education early childhood programs. The best way to see what the Family Resource Center is all about is to experience it in action. And luckily we have our Learning Through Playgroup going on today, where children and families come together every week to learn, grow, and play together. So let's come on in and take a look. So here we are at our Learning Through Play group. This is a place where weekly children and families and caregivers come together to learn and play together. As you can see, we have a beautiful classroom with many activities set up for them to explore. We have our dramatic play area. We have our schedule of our time here. We really try to have this mimic a preschool experience, so children really can get used to that environment of a routine, a structure, playing with other children, socializing. Families are talking to other families. And then we'll head over this way. We have our area where we have opportunities set up for sensory play and art. There's always a weekly theme that's going on. And then we have our block area over here. As you can see, it's just a place where children and families can just have fun and explore, talk to each other. We're gonna walk over here and I will show you how lucky we are to have this beautiful space. We also have our social worker as part of our staff. And this is our social worker's office right in here. So we're so lucky that she can provide support to any families and children that need some extra support and resources in this building through our program. And then we are also very lucky to have our Early Childhood Collaborative KITE as part of this building. And I'm going to introduce you to Brianna Beckstrand.
Hi.
She is our KITE coordinator. KITE is our Early Childhood Collaborative. I'll let her just say hi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brianna Beckstrand, and I am the coordinator for KITE. We're so fortunate to be housed here in the Stowe Early Learning Center, but even more grateful to be able to have the strong partnership that we do with the Family Resource Center, and are so grateful for everything that you do for Enfield families.
Thank you, Brianna. And Brianna is a former Family Resource Center parent, which is even more awesome. So thank you, Brianna. And we will move over to our library area. This is our parent educator's office space. She's kind of tucked away here. We're gonna sneak right through here. Hi, everyone. And then here is our library area. This is just a place where children can come and play with puppets and read books with family members. After snack time, we will have a story time and sing songs right over in this area. So you're going to be able to hear from a few parents to tell you what the Family Resource Center has meant to them.
Through the yellow, yellow lilies by the muskrat house, okay, rhyming. Look, quacks the baby duck, I see ya. There's a little tiny tail, what rhymes with house? Can you guess? Mouse. The mouse, good job.
So the goals is really connecting families with resources within the communities, and again building relationships, having families come in, and this is kind of like where it all begins, so before kids actually go to school. So you'll hear kids come in who are 2 and they'll say to their parents, oh, I'm going to see Miss Aaron, my teacher, and I'm going to school today. And then a lot of the kids end up going into one of the programs within this building, so it really helps with the transition that they're already comfortable with this building and coming here. There's familiarity, so that's been really, really great too.
My name is Jessie. My son Eli is 2 years old. We come to the FRC every week for playgroup. We've been coming here for the past 3 years since my oldest son was 1 and he's now 4. Not only do my sons love coming here to playgroup, but I've established awesome relationships here, long-lasting friendships, and as a stay-at-home mom, I really look forward to coming here and just having that adult interaction. The staff here are wonderful. They make you feel like part of a family here.
You have cool bows on your shoes. Are you too? Yeah. As the Director of Early Childhood Initiatives at Stowe Early Learning Center, we are so fortunate to partner with the Family Resource Center in many ways. They support our recruitment efforts for our Board of Ed funded preschool programs. They send families to us. They offer playgroups and encourage our families to come. If a family is in need of any resources, we refer them right to the FRC. They contact families. They offer them their services. If a family is struggling with needing supports in the home for behavior, we reach out to the social worker who's housed in our FRC, and she immediately takes care of making the referral and putting them in contact with whatever they need. They're basically one of our greatest supporters.
There are so many layers to FRC, really, that it's more than just a play group. It's a place where I feel like my family is cared for, concerned about. Aaron and I, we come here to play, but it also gives me other ways to play with him. When you're at home, you get caught up in the everyday ritual that you kind of forget the importance of playing with your child. And here we have a designated time to be hands-on, really focused in with them. And we brought my older son here too, and we took the Circle of Security class. And that just really helped me understand my kids that much more, why they check in so often, how important it is for me to just be there.
This program really helped us get through COVID restrictions. There wasn't a lot to do with the kids, and the program was really great, keeping me and my kids still engaged with our community and everything that it offers. I've done the Circle of Security program, and it's been great to feel like you're part of a community that cares about your children's well-being and development.
We've been here for about a year. The play group, we absolutely love it. It's like the best for socialization, and it's really amazing, the group, because not many towns offer programs like this, and kids who can't get into either Head Start or have the socialization early up as the younger age that they have here, it offers a great invaluable socialization and play skills that they need to develop early on. The program's actually helped him, for example, snack time with the cup of water. He was never able to use a cup of water, and even his birth to 3 has told him, you know, that's he's gotten skills over here. So it's really great of a program.
So we started coming to the Family Resource Center. When she was born right before COVID hit, wasn't able to do anything, didn't have any social interaction whatsoever until we started coming here, and she was having a real problem fitting in with people, and now she's fitting in with kids her own age, being able to play with them all the time.
We are so grateful to the LEGO Community Fund US, housed right here in Enfield, for being our main funder. We also are thankful to USA Hauling and Recycling for their support, as well as the town of Enfield and the Enfield Public Schools. We're so lucky to be part of a community with such wonderful partnerships, collaboration, and support. So I hope this gave you a good idea of what the Family Resource Center is all about. Thank you so much for joining us.
So I just have to give a shout out to our town of Enfield's ETV department, which helped me put that together, because I think they did such an amazing job and a really quick turnaround. I asked them very last minute, and it was so much better than I would have been able to do with my iPhone. So they were amazing. It's a great resource we have in our town. And also the parents that spoke, I mean, we just kind of asked them the day before playgroup, hey, would you be willing to say a few words? And that they were more than happy to, and it just to hear what they said, I just feel like what they said was just so powerful and they speak so much more eloquently than I could about the program. So I just think I'm glad you got to hear from them. So I apologize because they're mowing the lawn right outside my window right now, of course. So I hope you can hear me. So just a couple of other things before I turn it over to Colleen to share. You may have heard me mention USA Hauling and Recycling in the video. They also have been a sponsor of ours. They're located in the area, and they were attending the playgroup as well. They're president, his son was attending. He learned that LEGO had funded us, and LEGO at the time had also wanted us to look for other business support, and so they stepped up with a donation. So really another example of the relationships that we were able to create and help sustain the program. During the pandemic, LEGO reached out to us, as everybody else did in the community, in the FRC world, switched to virtual groups. They reached out to us to ask what they could do to help, and they were able to provide us with LEGO materials and kits for the communities. We were able to provide them to about 1,300 children through our different programs within the Social Services Department and our Enfield food shelf. That was just an amazing, amazing thing that we could offer during that difficult time. I just want to mention a little bit about our Circle of Security Parenting, which you heard some parents talk about. That's on our next slide. Thank you, Julie. So it's another program that we offer. It's a relationship-based parenting program. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. It provides a way for parents to help improve relationships with their children, learn how to meet their children's needs. It's an 8-week series that we offer. We switched it to virtual during the pandemic, and families have told us that it has really helped them get through the pandemic, learning some of the new ways to think about their children's behavior and their own parenting. Our next slide shows that we have been offering it since 2018. All of our staff are facilitators. We offer it individually and in groups. The individual sessions are nice if families really want to kind of talk more privately about things and have a chance to really go in depth with the parent educator and the social worker that facilitate the groups. We also were awarded funding through Prevent Child Abuse Connecticut to provide Circle of Security in the pediatric setting. We had been part of a grant where we were asked to help because we were facilitators. We were asked to help with a different grant that was going on that had been working with pediatric offices to train the staff or to run through the program with the staff. And so they were familiar with it. So we kind of imitated that model in a pediatric practice in Enfield. We gave an overview of Circle of Security to the staff of the practice, and then we provided groups for the parents of the practice. And then since then, we've done that with an additional pediatric practice, and then now they are referring families to us. Children are birth to age 6 is roughly what Circle of Security targets, but it can really be applied to any age, the information. So that's just been a really great partnership that we've been able to develop, and families have reported really, really positive things about how Circle of Security has helped them in their parenting. The next slide just shows a flyer that we had created for the families at the pediatric practice with a QR code, information about the facilitator. So it's been a really exciting partnership to work more with the pediatricians on that. And then our next slide talks about our grandparents raising grandchildren. That's another really important part of our program. We have about 168 grandparents in Enfield raising their grandchildren. We provide a monthly support group to them. Our social worker facilitates this group. We provide childcare and dinner. We connect them with social work resources. We also partner with our women's club, who provides scholarships for their grandchildren to go to summer camps or activities, and we do enrichment activities with them as well. So they really have been strong participants in this group. There's a lot of needs, and they faithfully attend every month, and we're constantly getting new members in that group. So it's just another important program that we offer. So Dive into Diversity is something that we partnered with our Early Childhood Collaborative Kite during the pandemic. We wanted to look at how we could help parents learn how to help their children learn more about diversity and equity. So we came up with an idea of creating these virtual story readings that were shown on Facebook, and then the links were emailed out as well. So we had a different guest reader each week, and we focused on different books. The next steps will be a series for parents and children to explore what makes them unique. That's going to be led by Colleen and Leo. But I just wanted to show you a couple of the books that we offered through this program. And the next slides are just a few of the pictures of what we had offered. So we tried to get different community members to be involved. So this was our parent educator did one of the readings. The next one, we had a Grandpa Doug, we call him. He's a fatherhood facilitator that's worked with us before. he read a story. We had our Board of Education member read a story. So we had parents read. We had just a really nice range of participants to share these books with families of young children. We also partner with Esnanta Community College through their early childhood program. So they also, their students and staff helped with this as well. We have so many partnerships. I could talk for a long time about this, but I know we're getting close to time. So I wanted to, next slide, introduce Colleen. Again, so this is the flyer that we had created with Colleen and Leo because they are going to be doing a program for our families related to this at some point. And this picture was taken before their third child was born back in the fall, but I'm going to let Colleen introduce herself and tell you how she came to be involved with the FRC.
Hi, everyone. First, I just want to say that thank you so much for being invited to participate in this. The Enfield Family Resource Center has been a godsend for myself, for my husband, and for our 3 children. We're regular attendees at the Resource Center, and I'm going to try and keep everything that I have to say within a 10-minute window. And I actually had to organize it in a set of categories just to keep me on track here, because I could fill the entire day talking about how wonderful the Resource Center has been for our family. So I want to start by saying that my husband and I aren't from Enfield. We actually moved here back in 2016 from Boston. And we moved here for my husband's work. And when we got here, we had absolutely zero connections to the community. My first son was only 6 months old. And, you know, I was a new mom, and everything that comes with being a new mom, the emotions, and then moving into a new town and a new home. It was a lot of transitions all at once. And I first heard about the Family Resource Center from a mom while at the public library. And she said, you have to call. Her name was Erin Grimes. You have to call her, the parent educator. Make an appointment to go over there and see this space, because it's going to change your life as for being a stay-at-home mom. So I did that immediately, and my first impression upon walking through the doors was it was just such a warm and welcoming environment, and I felt like I could just breathe for a minute. You know, my son, I was able to put him on the floor and immediately connect with a parent educator, and she was so attentive and caring, and she just was support. I just felt an immense amount of support from her right off the bat, and I just knew that this was going to be a safe space for me to be able to share my experiences, the emotions that I was going through as a new mom, and that this was a person that I could go to for, you know, comfortably for support within this, you know, within this time frame or what I was going through in my life at that time. So it was an immense sense of feeling of belonging. And that video did a tremendous job kind of showing the culture of the space and all the efforts that are made to make parents feel, and grandparents and caregivers feel just accepted and empowered. While I attend these groups, I've met all of my close friends in my life right now are other moms that I've met at the Resource Center. We schedule we go to playgroup every week, but then we also schedule playgroups outside, play dates at each other's houses within the local park. It just brings people together in such an organic way, because we're all in the same situation. And without this Family Resource Center, without this space bringing people together, I don't think I would have otherwise met these other people that I have in my life that I cherish so much. So it has provided a sense of belonging, a sense of routine. And it also, that stands true to my husband. The Enfield Family Resource Center has, before COVID, they had a dad's play group in the evenings, and they had to lure the dads in with pizza, which I always thought was very interesting because the moms didn't get pizza. But that's a whole nother societal thing. But my husband was able to go with our kids after work and have that really special one-on-one playtime with our kids. And, you know, he was always done working by 5:30 at home, but when you're at home, you just don't have sometimes the energy or the bandwidth to be able to create meaningful activity and time for play. So when he would go to these dad groups, it was just a time for him to just play and not be distracted by other things that happen at home. And it's just awesome. He really loved it when that was taking place. The second area I want to talk about is the skills training that the Resource Center has provided for us. While we attend these play groups and while our kids play, the staff that are there that are facilitating these activities in a very gentle way, they provided the role modeling that I think is just invaluable. My kids would play and do an activity, and then the parent educator would come behind and like gently kind of assist and play with my kids. And I was like, oh, it just clicked with me that these are techniques and skills and things that I could do with my kids at home that I really just, I didn't know that I was lacking in certain areas, but after being able to see different approaches and different ways of playing, I was able to bring that into our home, and that has changed the culture and the rhythm within our household. So I'm forever grateful of being able to go to these play groups. And off of that, while going to these play groups, the parent educators have encouraged us to attend the Circle of Security parenting class, which Amy spoke about. And both my husband and I attended these classes on separate sessions. And it has been life-changing in the way that we interact with our children, the way that we interact with each other and our peers. It's really just completely improved and changed the way that we communicate with one another, and has provided us with a different sense of awareness and a different just way of parenting our children. So that I would encourage anyone, if you don't have this in your resource center, or if you haven't taken the course yourself, it is invaluable. It'll change your life, and it'll change your relationships. From my kids, I see a sense of self-awareness, self-confidence, great self-regulation skills. And I just know it's because we're able to role model and communicate in a way that makes sense to them, and they feel secure and supported by us. So that has been, and my husband, he wanted to be here. He had a work conflict last minute. And so I apologize for that, but he talks about Circle of Security at least once a week. So it's been just beneficial from us. He actually has a Circle of Security book that we received at the program on his nightstand, which is like, so he does refer to it as our kids are getting older and changing. It has been almost like a reference guide for us to, okay, how can we work with our kid where they're at in their life, meeting them where they're at. So we can't thank the Resource Center enough for that. The third area I wanted to kind of touch upon is the education piece. The Family Resource Center has been incredible at providing resources to me and my friends that have kids that are just starting school. So in Enfield, I'm from a small town, there's only one preschool, but in Enfield, there's, a handful, 10, maybe 7, somewhere in there, different preschool programs. And I approached the parent educator and said, I don't even know how to go about applying for preschools. And she provided a whole session on the different, how to apply, what the different programs are, what the hours are, what the costs are. And that just helped. She just walked us through the process. And with that said, when my oldest was about to enter kindergarten, he was able to attend a summer kindergarten readiness program. And that really was just awesome, getting him to learn how to take the bus independently, being away from me and my husband on his own, for 5-6 hours at a time. It was just incredible. And he would come home with his backpack full of supplies and talk about the different activities that he did during the day. And just, it got him really excited about starting school. But it also gave me and my husband a taste of what it's going to be like, kind of letting our child go into the world on his own a little bit. So it was just a fantastic program. And then also with that, they have also provided the tools and resources to make referrals to birth to 3 when I needed it. We also had to get a referral to the social worker to talk about some things that my middle child was experiencing. So it's just been incredible. They've connected us with different resources within the community. And I truly feel that if they don't have the answers right off the bat, they take the time to really do the research and for you, and they're not going to leave you hanging. They are dedicated to giving you the support that you need to get through whatever your family is going through. And with my middle child has some gender identity things that he's experiencing, and which is new territory for me and my husband. And when I approached the social worker, I was approached with open arms, and she actually got us connected with an amazing parent support group in Connecticut. And that has changed the way that my husband and I, are approaching and working with our middle child. And I just don't know, when I don't know what to do, I just know that I can go to the resource center and they're going to help us navigate or help us figure it out. And if they don't have the answers, they're going to take the time to find the answers, and they're very responsive. I'll get a response probably within the day when I approach them with any sort of questions. So it's amazing. I can't say enough positive things that they've done for us. I don't know how I'm doing on time here. I haven't been paying attention, but if I'm
doing great.
Okay, all right. So the fourth area I have here is okay, I talked about the community resources, but as far as like the community resources, they've also provided us with other resources like baby essentials when we had our second child, and our third child, they provided us with some diapers and a crib and some of the essentials that we didn't have or weren't able to purchase at the time. It's just, they do it in such a way that is so respectful and I don't know if I have the words for it, but it's just done in such a respectful way, and you just feel like so much love and support from the center. They also provided us with a lot of home kits and activities to do with your kids. So during the video, one of the moms who I actually recognized, she said that, you get stuck in that ritual at home and you're not sure what to do for play and how to keep it exciting and stimulating for your kid. One thing that's amazing is the Enfield Resource Center and Kite that they mentioned, they provide these kits that you can take home and do at home with your kids. And most of the time it has the materials and the instructions on how to facilitate that activity with your kids. So it just sparks creativity and encourages you to sit down with your kid and focus and being present in the moment and just be your kid's first teacher. And so I always appreciate that. And then the fifth thing, and then I'll try to wrap it up, is I feel like the Enfield Family Resource Center has provided me and my husband with an opportunity to be active participants within the community. Amy's touched upon the Dive into Diversity program that they collaborate with Kite. And, my husband and I were a multicultural family, and this is a very homogenous community that we live in. And while we love it here, sometimes it feels a little difficult to find people that you can relate to or understand some of your personal experiences. And so when we share this information with the resource center, I feel like they were able to help us problem solve that a little bit and they welcomed us to facilitate a program within Dive to Diversity. Okay, well, you're experiencing this. Well, how can we make you feel at home within your community? And so my husband and I were able to put together this really great Dive into Diversity program that we hope to get up and running once our kids are a little older, because it's been a little crazy. But we're hoping to get it up and running in the fall to talk to kids about who they are, what it means to be different, what it means to be special, and just that self-identity piece that I think if kids gain that at a young age, they'll be able to appreciate other people and their uniqueness as they get older. So the better you understand yourself, the better you're going to understand other people. So that's just been amazing, just to be able to be empowered and encouraged to be a part of the community. So I could continue on and on and on because we are regulars at the Enfield Family Resource Center, but it has been just a life-changing for us. And so we thank everyone there, of course, for everything that they've done for us. So I'll turn it back over to you, Amy.
Thank you so much, Colleen. I truly appreciate everything you do, and just for being part of our program and those wonderful words that you shared. Thank you so much. There's so much more I could share with you about the FRC, but we'll end here. Full disclosure, that's a picture of my daughter wearing her FRC shirt. She just turned 5 last week, so I was feeling nostalgic, and I said, "Oh, this might be a good picture to end with." But I would, be happy to take any questions that anyone has. And Thank you so much for letting us share.
Thanks so much, Amy. So we do have 14 minutes left for questions. So let's dive in. Folks have been asking in the chat. So I'm just going to start at the top if that's okay. So just to answer the question about the video and the slide deck, we're happy to share that. So that will be in the post briefing materials and will be posted on the website tomorrow. So check the website for that. See
the
here.
video also, if it helps, like we have it as a YouTube link. If maybe it'll be like clear, you know. Yeah, so we can do it that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a question about what age range of children do the families have at the program? And this is about the COSP program in particular.
Oh, so Circle of Security. Circle of Security parenting is geared towards ages birth through 6. It can go a little bit beyond that. And then, not birth, I'm sorry, 4 months through age 6. Our programs at the site, because we're located in the Early Learning Center, it's heavily focused on up to age 5, but we work with families all across the community. Our other FRC is located in a K-2 school, so the kids in that school are up to 2nd grade. But again, we're open to anybody that needs help. We do have a youth services department that we can connect if they have older children that need support. But families might have older siblings or grandparents raising grandchildren. They might be all ages. So yeah, we work with everyone, but a very early childhood focused in that building.
Great. And there's also a question about Circle of Security, if it's accepted for Families First programming. I don't know if you receive Families First funding or not, but
it is an evidence-based. I know Connecticut does. That's through the DCF. I know it's an evidence-based program, so I do know that their website is wonderful. It's an international program, so if you go to Circle of Security Parenting and just Google it, they have a ton of information about the program, how to get the facilitator training. Great resources on their site.
Nice. And there is a question, do you see families that are involved in the child welfare system?
We do. We're also lucky, I didn't mention this, we're lucky to have a DCF worker, Department of Children and Families, posted right in Enfield, and she has an office in our social services building, so she's able to be there every week, and she participates in community meetings, and she's kind of our liaison with the department. So she refers families to us for all of our programs, our play groups, our Circle of Security, any parenting groups that we offer. A differential response, I know yes, and sometimes it's also, it could be a mandated services too for families. Our programs are by design voluntary, but sometimes they can have that be part of the plan.
Absolutely. And there's a question about, can families that are enrolled at your school, or whether they're not enrolled yet, are they able to go to the family resource centers?
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. We try to reach them before they're going to enter school, or just to help make that transition. So we try to catch them as early as we can, but they don't have to be, because we're the only, we try to prioritize the families in our buildings, but because we're the only FRCs in the community, we'll work with anyone in any of the schools or neighborhoods in town.
Great. And then there's a question about the Read Aloud programs. Are they virtual or in person?
Oh, the Dive into Diversity, maybe those were done virtually because we started it right when COVID started. So yes, those were at that time virtual, but we are looking to do some in-person things once we're able to do more of that.
Nice. And then there's also requests for the books that you used for that program. If you have a list handy.
We do.
That was requested as well. Yeah. And feel free to just send me any of that. That'd be great. And we'll put that in the folder so everybody can access that. Thanks so much. And then there's a question just about word of mouth, if that's something that you see as a way folks are hearing about the Family Resource Center.
Sometimes it's word of mouth. We do a lot of recruitment, within our community through our schools, through our social services department, through our library, through all our community programs. But it is hard because we still always find families who don't know about us yet. So it's one of the challenges that we're always trying to find families that could benefit from our services. Definitely social media has been a really big way recently. There's a mom's Facebook group in our town that has like 1,000 parents that are part of it. So we've been using that and getting a lot of families from that site actually. But yes, it's constant trying to get the word out.
Great. And do you find that participants are reflective of the families in your communities? The families that you're serving, do you find that they're reflective of the community at large?
As far as like diversity of the community, maybe,
I would assume layers of diversity, socioeconomic, just overall.
I would find that, yes. And that's another area where we're really working hard in. With Kite has cultural parent ambassadors. Kite is another program that would be amazing to highlight at some point, but they have cultural parent ambassadors working with the different populations in our community. So there's a Latino parent group, there's an Arabic parent group, African American Alliance. So we try to connect with those parent ambassadors also to help us do outreach to the community. Because yes, we do have more work to do there.
Yeah, and I think you just spoke to this. It sounded like you just spoke to this, but if you have anything you wanted to add, there were a couple questions about efforts reaching populations that are underserved, or if there are subgroups of families that you wish were accessing supports but aren't.
Yes, we do, and I know. So we have a neighborhood or a part of our town that is it's called Thompsonville, and it just tends to be where many lower income families live. And we used to have neighborhood schools, and then the schools were kind of redistricted. So we are really trying to reach families in this community. And our social services department is housed right there. So being affiliated with them has been really helpful in really trying to do more outreach, right in the community. But yes, it's something that we are always working towards.
Yeah, always. And another question is, was there Connecticut legislative action that promoted or prompted support from the Department of Education of your school-based Family Resource Center?
Yes, there was. Back in 1998 is when, yes, I don't know if there's anyone on this call from Connecticut FRCs, but the FRC Alliance, but yes, it was legislation that put us into the state budget.
Awesome. And have you established plans for expansion?
We have not. We would love to expand. We would love to. I mean, we were so amazed to be able to get a second FRC. So we have not, but we are always looking for new opportunities for funding and partnering with our community partners in our school. Because we would ideally, there should be one in every school. But we're happy to have two.
Yeah, that's incredible. And do you track how many families visit your center each month?
We do. So the families that attend those, we do lots of data collection, but the families that attend those learning through play groups, they register at the beginning of the year. So they it's not really a drop in, it's more of like, this is your time slot. They come every week through the school year. So right now I know we have about, we're offering 5 groups at that site every week, and then 4 at our Henry Barnard site. So we have approximately 110, I believe, children and families attending right now regularly. It's really picked back up since going back to in-person. Families were really wanting to come back together. So we've been busy.
So that was the end of the questions. If anybody else has any that you wanted to enter, we have 4 minutes remaining. So Amy, I'll turn things back over to you. If there's anything else understand there's so much that you weren't able to cover. So is there anything that you didn't cover yet that you'd like to share?
I think just I know, and thinking about COVID and the effects, and we're seeing a lot of families that they chose to not send their children to preschool during COVID. Obviously, many programs were closed. Many families delayed kindergarten entry because of COVID. So our learning through playgroups, and I think they just need to be seen as really important. Like, I think, people might understand and say, oh, it's just a playgroup, but for a lot of kids, this is it's their preschool experience. So it's really helping, families help get their kids ready for school when they might not be able to afford a formal preschool, or just for whatever reason did not send them to. So I think there's just some really great benefits, like as you heard from the families and from Colleen, that come out of having that experience. We also offer, I didn't talk about the Parents as Teachers Home Visiting Program that's available as well. So that is an option, and we have a small amount of families participating in that, but in our community, and the great thing about FRCs is that we can be responsive to the needs of our community. In our community, the families really have seemed to prefer the group setting. I think especially after COVID, families feeling very isolated, they've really been wanting to participate in activities together with their children and other families. So we're seeing a lot of traffic at the play groups right now, and we do offer them. We try to make them available at times that are convenient. So we do have the daytime groups, that will also do evening programs as well, as I know all FRCs do.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much again, Amy, for presenting, and thank you so much to Colleen and Leo for being here, even with hearing their sweet babies' voices in the background. Like, I totally remember those days and get that. So thank you so much for being here.